Hi, my name's Lucy Spraggan, and I'm hanging out with Rob at Front Row Live.
I did not recognize you outside because you weren't wearing a spacesuit. So I kind of felt awkward being like, yeah, I'm here for Lucy.
And for those of you that don't know, I always wear a spacesuit.
Basically, yes.
On my latest video, I was donning a spacesuit, so I completely understand why you didn't recognize me.
Now let's talk a little bit about creating that video because it was kind of cool. It felt like you didn't tell the world you were walking around in a spacesuit because I could see people like looking out the windows and just being surprised about it. Is that safe to say, or were these all extras for set?
No, I'm so serious. It's like this town in called Bolton. I think it's a city actually in the UK, and none of them are actors. So I just literally had a spacesuit on, walking through the town centre, and everyone's reactions are real. So like they were filmed, and then somebody would follow them behind, like going, "Yeah, oh, can you just sign this?" So yeah, no, it's all genuine, man.
Yeah.
So it was hot.
I'm sure it was.
Yes, it was.
I'm sure it was. Was this your idea to do the spacesuit with the track Lucky Stars?
Yeah. So I wanted like Lucky Stars about being thankful for like the people in my life and being thankful for my wife, and like I get quite anxious sometimes, and to me, when feeling like you're anxious or having anxiety is like wearing a spacesuit all the time, because you're like, oh, people are looking at me, and like I feel like I'm a Martian, and so I wanted to capture that, and it was really fun. It was a good fun thing to do.
Now you can't pull that off and then not have a spacesuit on at your merch table like for your tour.
Yeah, well, that would be a good idea. Little spacesuit key rings. I see it happening now. But that was a rented spacesuit, and I could tell, like, I was trapped in that helmet, and there had been a lot of people in that spacesuit. Let me tell you that. Whew.
So this track is off your upcoming album, which I was listening to the last couple days. And first of all, for starters, I love that you started it with Breathe. I feel like Breathe was just such a great track to introduce the entire record. What was it about Breathe that made you want to say, this is how I want to introduce my album?
I think it's just like one of the songs that's got a bit more punch, and it's got a bit. It's like kind of explaining. The last record was kind of relaxed and a quite happy record, and this one is too. But so like it literally starts off saying like so much can change in a year, and it really has, and that's what I wanted to like outline. Right.
And take me into the studio with this record. You went back to work with John McGuire on it. So like, what was that chemistry like this time around with the album?
He's literally one of my best friends now. So like we did a record together. We've written some tracks together, and you know, it's so nice. He lives in Wales, in Newport, and like you know, he's just had a baby, and I was staying at his house while he was doing it, like you know, going out for dinner with him and his wife and stuff. And so when we make a record together, it's just like two friends hanging out for like a couple of months, and working with him is a dream. He's so talented. He's such a good producer, and even better, it's really good to have one of those friends that's completely honest. Right. So like he's like, that vocal's awful, do it again.
So which vocal was awful on any of the tracks of this album?
All of them. Auto-tune. No, it's just good. It's good to have like his opinions on things. Yeah. It's difficult to say stuff to people that you don't know that well. Right. So.
Right. Now, this album has 13, 14 tracks on it.
14.
So, you know, tell me a little bit about the whole idea of this record. Like, what was your mindset when you went into the studio to create it?
I was just sort of writing what was in my head. I'd not written songs for a little while after the last record. Yeah. I just get my head filled with stuff, and that's what my albums end up just being. It's like, to me, it's just like a load of nonsense, but they just turn out to be songs.
Now, the fact that you didn't write for a while after your last record, do you feel like it was a challenge when you came in to start writing for this album?
Kind of. I felt like I didn't have much to say. Okay.
Because you released it on all your other records, or you just weren't living a certain moment?
Well, the last record like covered, you know, my wife's grandma, she had dementia, and I wrote a song about that. And then there was, I wrote a song that was like promoting, positive mental health. It was about like male suicide, which is a huge issue around the world at the moment, and just loads of topics, quite like serious topics. And then this album's totally not like that. Yeah. It's way more playful. So I think I wanted to do something a bit less serious.
Right. Now, sonically, like what, the sounds that are on this record, was it your idea to kind of bring those in for this album? Was it John's idea? Was it a mixture of the two of you?
It's kind of a mixture of both, because John really sees me as a pop artist, and I for some reason I'm still like about pop, even though I am a pop musician, like a pop artist. But he pushes me to do things slightly more commercially, and I push him back, saying like, no, I don't want to do that. So there is.
That's who the song is about.
Yeah. But it's so like there are songs on there that are just acoustic tracks with strings, like Connie's Bar, and then there are like super poppy songs on there. It's just a mixture. We didn't take ourselves too seriously, which I think is really important.
What was the biggest challenge for this record? Do you feel like you had a specific song that kind of challenged you?
I think the writing was the hardest process. Like I said, I didn't feel like I had much to say. So like I've written an entire album about my wife, which is just boring for everybody listening to it, but I guess that's what's going on in my life at the moment. It's like a progression, isn't it? Albums, like this is my 5th album technically, and this I've heard the 5th album is supposed to be really difficult, so I found this one.
You feel it was?
Yeah, I think so. In relation to the other ones, the other ones have just been a bit of a breeze.
Now, between your 5 albums in total, like how would you say like your evolution in like your sound has kind of gone?
I think I'm like a more of a singer than I used to be. I used to be like more sort of chatty, and I think I just write more like commercially acceptable songs. Like I used to have really weird time signatures and like changes in it that if you actually look at it on paper, you're like, that's not normal. And now I think I'm writing a bit more like, I don't know, a bit more like a songwriter. Whereas before I was just like someone who played.
You just wrote whatever felt.
Yeah.
What do you feel kind of changed that? Was it because you were working with so many people, because you had so many records out?
I feel like, you go into a professional atmosphere and things just start changing in that sense. And for me, I mean, I work around some amazing songwriters. And to be honest, like if I'm doing a session for somebody else, like writing tracks for somebody else, like I try and curb my natural like instinct to write weird songs. Yeah.
Do you write for other people a lot?
Yeah, at home. I've just started, I signed a publishing deal with my new record label, Cooking Vinyl. And we've been doing bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah. So this record drops May 3rd.
Yes.
What are the plans? You're here in the States right now, but what are the plans of you actually like going full round here in the States?
I'm going to move here. If they'll give me a visa. That is the dream. The dream is to like be here and work here, work on getting, playing loads more shows and pushing the record out here. I'm going to be back touring. I want to do a lot more support slots. I mean, I've just finished touring with Melissa Etheridge around the UK and Europe. So it's just about like coming back and attacking fully here. Like this is where I want to be. So.
Now, for those that are not familiar with you, what is your album title, and also why did you start creating music?
The album title is called Today Was a Good Day, and I started making music because it's all I've ever done, and it's just I don't think I could do anything else, and I love it. This makes me happier than anything else in the world.
Nice. Well, thanks again for hanging out with me. You guys be sure to check out Lucy Spraggan.
Yeah, you did it.
New album is out May 3rd, and thanks for watching on Front Row Live. Yes.